Hello and welcome to the Black Mind Podcast. We're Joshless today. For some weird reason, we shot him into a cannon. I don't know why we did this. I blame Allan. We did that, and bad things happened. We don't know, but we know that Josh is no longer with us. So we replaced Josh with Shane instead.
I return.
Yeah.
Once more into the fray, I see.
Yeah, I think it's been like a year since I've done this.
That, roughly.
Yeah, it's been about roughly a year, maybe two. Shane came back because from the Crusades. He was busy crusading people, murdering them online.
Going full Deus Volt.
I don't know.
All the way Deus Volt.
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, remember, that's now offensive.
Is it?
Yeah, considering Canadian laws, kind of.
Maybe.
Oh, I got bad news for non-white people then. Or is it only illegal if white people do it?
Pretty much, I think anybody who's not Muslim. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
Jeff is currently throwing himself at a wall, trying to get homework done.
Let me explain this to people what happened today. So Smash came out today, and I was like, great, I'm gonna play it, and playing it's gonna be great, and we're gonna play it, and everything was fine. And let me tell you, guys, about how my playing of Smash went.
Did you get bodied?
No, I didn't even. I played one match, and it was on my friend's Switch, and I was just like, because my fucking SD card might be a fake. Because, okay, I shouldn't be mad because I got this stupid thing for free, but like it still annoys me because I was like, I wanted to play Smash today. I can't play Smash. So it's like I couldn't smash all my smashingness with my Smash things. I would have rather suck dick than find this fucking thing.
Why didn't you just buy it? Like, I don't know.
I do own it.
Then,
you're talking about the SD card.
No, I mean talking about like buying.
Yeah, why
Smash.
didn't you just buy a physical copy of Smash?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Because that would require smart things, Allan. And I'm not.
You're not smart. We all know this. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. It's
We've all come to this agreement now. That's good.
Yeah. It's been fun. That basically it's especially fun when you like find out that you're like possibly SD card, but it's working fine on my phone, so I'm assuming that it's probably going to be okay. Okay, so I'll just leave it on my phone and then just download Smash onto the regular SD card, because fuck my life.
Again, just go buy a physical copy. Like, there's nothing wrong there with buying a physical copy.
There's a lot of things wrong with buying a physical copy, Allan.
No, there isn't.
No, there's literally nothing wrong with it.
I honestly even though I love Steam and I enjoy using it, I'd rather have physical copies of like video games and stuff like that. Nintendo's one of those few companies that actually still like says, no, you need the physical copy of the game to play.
Well, okay. Can I explain to you why I don't want to buy physical copies of games anymore?
Why that?
Because I would rather have my game library on me at all times instead of just 8 copies and have to carry a bunch of cases.
I can see it for the Switch, because if you're carrying it around.
Right. And like that's my entire reasoning is like my Switch is coming with me wherever I go, usually.
couldn't you just like wait? Aren't Switch cartridges like small enough that you can get like a little carry case for them?
I have a
Yeah.
little carrying case that carries eight Switches, cartridges, and stuff like that. I don't want to carry 8 Switch cartridges.
All right, whatever. You know what?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
being
I'm being facetious and an asshole. I know this, but like, my reasoning for that is because it's like I would rather not have to carry around stupid things like that. I would rather have to carry. I would rather not have to carry around like those kinds of things. I would rather be able to carry around what I want to carry. And I understand where you're coming from and stuff like that. Like, you're totally right. But like at the same time, it's like, I don't have to carry that stuff around. Wow, okay, that seems like way more convenient. Like, I can play Splatoon on the go. Holy shit. And like, basically, like, the only game that I permanently have in my Switch is Zelda.
really.
Yes, really.
Hmm.
Because I only want Zelda in my Switch. I don't want something else. So it looks like I'm probably gonna have to buy it directly from Samsung.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, I already bought it, and it's just frustrating because it's like, man, fuck this. I don't want to deal with this right now.
You could just go and buy an SD card. They're pretty cheap nowadays.
I mean, they're $80 for the new ones, and I just
Why
yeah, I
would
might,
you get an $80 SD card?
because
Why
it's
do you need
256 gigabytes, and I'm stupid.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He is very stupid.
I do stupid things all the time. Shane, I took database at the same time as I took programming fundamentals.
I didn't even take database, and I took database too.
Well, okay, never mind. But yeah, like, basically, yeah, and then I said today the greatest thing that I've ever said in all time. I said I would rather suck dick than do database again.
But you're going back to add a database, aren't you?
No, wait, let me rephrase that. I said I would rather suck dick for Coke than do the database class again.
And he's serious because he doesn't even do coke.
Yep. So
Yeah.
let's get off this dour topic of Smash. Let's talk about Smash. Did you guys
Yeah,
hear what
let's talk
happened at the?
Yeah,
guys hear what happened
I watched
in,
the Game Awards last night, and let me tell you, was it a fucking? It was.
Dog show?
It was a show, all right. But okay. So, Allan, do you want to introduce this?
All right, I didn't watch the game live shows or anything like that because I really don't care. But I got linked a video that was like, oh yeah, here's the first Smash character of the fighter pack, and it's fucking Joker from Persona 5, and I'm like,
What?
like it was really clever. Like I really liked the trailer, like how it was done.
Yeah, it was really well
actually,
done.
It was a really nice trailer. It was it's beautifully animated and stuff like that. It gets the point across, and it's like, but at the same time, I'm like, hold up. So we still haven't got Waluigi.
No, and that's the thing. This is what I like. At this point, like, I was all on board. Like, I'm a pro Waluigi guy, right? Joker gets announced. Fuck Waluigi. Don't care anymore. Just the floodgates have opened. Madness has descent upon the land. Anything goes as long as Waluigi doesn't get thrown into the mix. So it's like, okay, today it's Joker from the Persona series. Tomorrow it's the entire cast of Golden Sun. Character pack.
Speaking of that, by the way,
Character pack 3 is Hey Arnold. Character pack 4 is the cast of Seinfeld. Like, throw everyone in at this point. Like, just think of a character, and like I saw these amazing fucking tweets, and it was
my favorite one right now is the fact that somebody pointed this out about with Persona 5 being a thing, and like you bring up Golden Sun, and my friend Rory has been like, come on, Golden Sun.
I think
come
Isaac
on,
is
Golden
a trophy though, isn't he?
He's a trophy, but considering that one of the characters got announced as a trophy initially and then became a playable character.
Yeah.
He's like, it's still a chance. There's still a chance. I still don't agree with Piranha Plant because what the fuck?
Yeah, like what was the one I was thinking of? You could have like Breath of Fire characters, and I can't remember the name that I was, or like the game that I was thinking of, but it was like this really fucking old game. Someone said Mel Gibson, which I agree with.
Oh
Just
god, that'd be
put
great.
Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn into this game.
Oh man. No, in all seriousness, the characters I'd love to see in the game though, like straight up, I'd love to see with Spyro's remake, just Spyro and Crash Bandicoot thrown in there.
No,
Oh
don't.
god.
Stop suggesting smart things, Alan.
I know, like you gotta realize I'm trying to be like optimistic about like.
Yeah, if you're being realistic about like who could be included in Smash. Now the thing is, we were like, okay, let's be realistic, and then we were, and then fucking Joker got announced, right? So it's
and
just
we were like,
realistically, who could you put in? Spider-Man.
I mean,
technically,
Doom-
yeah, you can. Spider-Man. Well, I don't think you could do Thanos because there hasn't been any games with him in it.
It was
No,
Fortnite.
but you could do.
That
You
was
could
on
do
the
Doom
Switch.
Guy. Yeah, that's
you
the
could do
point.
Doom Guy.
Yeah.
Doom guy would be funny. Doom guy would be like, the trailer is rated M. Like in game he's rated teen.
Like his final smash, he just like saws you in half, and that's it. You don't come back. You don't respawn. Like you're ejected from the match.
He sent you to hell. Um.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Could we see? I would love to see. I really would actually like to see. Oh fuck! What's his name? I'm trying to remember it now.
I went to go like look through my Steam library to see like what games I could add, and then the first thing that I see is not my Steam library but my desktop wallpaper, which is everyone's favorite Final Fantasy game, 10-2. So just throw like the cast of 10-2 into Smash.
Yeah, you could. That wouldn't actually be a bad choice either because
No, it
10-2.
wouldn't be.
I just kind of like scrolled through my Steam library, and unfortunately, since I play a lot of strategy games, I don't get named characters anymore. And then I landed my eyes on Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, I said because Solaire has an amiibo.
Yeah.
So Solaire could realistically be added. If Solaire gets added, Onion Bro has to get added.
I think Onion Bro would be an alternate skin for him.
Oh, he could be like an Echo Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be great if Solaire got fucking added. Oh man, just hey guys, we heard you like Dark Souls, so we put your Dark Souls
that was
in Smash.
Go ahead. Yeah. So
Go ahead.
what I was thinking. Now, I remember the name of the old Nintendo game because I have it on Steam. Put Scrooge McDuck in the game.
Oh God, please, yes. Voiced by David Tennant. Oh, actually no. I remember the character's name. I would love to see Sora.
From Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Could you imagine that?
I would love.
Again,
what I would love to see more is that Sora gets added to Kingdom Hearts before Kingdom Hearts 3 actually comes out.
You mean it gets added to like Smash before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
And then Kingdom Hearts gets delayed for that reason because they had to include him into Smash, and they're like, oh sorry, we had to do this. It was really last second, so Kingdom Hearts got delayed again.
Oh my God, that would crush my friends' hopes and dreams.
Max Power Colt from Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh
in
God,
Smash.
yes, please. Jeff, any characters you'd want in Smash?
Doom Guy Gordon Freeman.
That'd be an interesting one to see, Gordon Freeman.
Gordon Freeman would be hilarious because everyone would be saying they're crying as soon as Gordon Freeman got announced. It wouldn't even be fun.
He hasn't had his third game yet.
He's got the Half-Life 3 logo on his chest.
Yeah. And then, like, another good one would be Conquer.
Yeah, Conquer would actually be a good choice.
Conquer would be funny.
Conquer would be hilarious. And then if we're talking about all seriousness, Optimus Prime.
Someone said Gypsy Danger.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
no.
God, that'd be great.
No. Like Optimus Prime, and then his ultimate smash is basically summoning Primus.
Or he just gets
God,
Unicron
yes.
to like orbital strike
just-
the U.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would make a suggestion. I would make a suggestion from one of the games that I know I only play in this chat, but I would say the God Emperor of Mankind, but he'd always win, so I can't put him in the game.
What are you talking about? He almost died to horse.
Horus.
Get fucked.
And
Horus.
yes, almost. Almost is the key word there.
He literally won because of mind bullets.
Yes.
What I would like to see included would be the humongous entertainment character pack. So you get Spy Fox, Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, and Putt Putt.
Yep. That would be a good idea. They're just all one character, though. They have to be one character.
That'd be sweet. It'd be like Pokemon Trainer. And like
Yeah.
Putt Putt comes and like drops them off and drives off.
Yeah. God. You would also have to put in Miss Marvel and the guy, the fucking furry from the Game Awards.
Oh, Sonic Fox. Like
Yeah.
Sonic Fox is a competitive Smash player, and he makes
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Xander Mobus, who is the voice actor, who is the announcer for Smash, and he is now also a playable character because he is also the voice of Joker in Persona. So
Oh God,
the
yes,
announcer
that's
for
great.
Smash is now at Smash.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
great. I like that. That's actually a wonderful thing to hear.
This is a great idea. Yeah. So. Yeah, like it comes off as like basically like if they do anything and stuff like that, no matter what, they have my support and stuff like that. The only thing I wish they would do is I wish their game wasn't like 16 fucking gigs.
Well, you could be Red Dead Redemption and be 100 gigs.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Dead
It's not
Redemption 2
here.
is like 94 gigs.
Didn't that game like win like 2 Game of the Year awards and
It
stuff
didn't,
like that?
didn't win at the TGAs. It
Nope.
lost to God of War.
Which honestly, I'm happy it lost to God of War because God of War is in my opinion a superior game.
I disagree. I was thinking like, yeah, I would I didn't want to see Red Dead sweep the awards. But I was talking to my buddy Elliot, and I agree with what he said, and we came to the same conclusion that Red Dead Redemption 2 won Best Narrative, and God of War won Game of the Year, and I think that should be swapped. Because like God of War is an incredible narrative, and it tells this fantastic story, but the technicality of Red Dead is just unmatched, really. When you think of like the level of depth that's in Red Dead Redemption, where it's like when your horse dies, you got to carry your saddlebags back to town and you stink, so no one wants to talk to you. Like that attention to detail, as in gameplay standards, doesn't exist in God of War, because God of War is just an action adventure game.
You and the boy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you and the boy like sailing and fighting monsters and solving puzzles and talking to each other. So like narratively, I haven't played either game, mind you, but I think just based off those things, like God of War is superior as a narrative.
I've watched people play through God of War, and I've seen a lot of people start playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is the opening setup to Red Dead Redemption 2.
The opening to
and the
Red Dead's really great. It reminds me of like the Hateful Eight, where it's just it's really snowing and like
yeah, that's the thing is, as somebody actually pointed out about Red Dead Redemption 2 is he didn't get to like actually do anything. Like he's like, no, like I haven't actually like done anything.
moved my character.
I like it's all been like I'm on a rail, so I don't get to make a choice. And when I
Yeah.
finally got he finally got freedom to move around, he had to walk to a point, hook up a wire, and then it took him put him back on the rails. And it was like, And he even said the moment you got past the opening, it was great because you had the freedom to. It was basically GTA on Red Dead. But the problem is the opening. Oh man, it was a struggle for him because he's like, no, like this is.
There's one other game that I can think that does something similar to that, where it just like it sells itself as this massive open world game where you can do anything, but the first 5-10 minutes is just completely restrictive. The only other game I can think that does that is Skyrim, where you open up Skyrim, and the idea of Skyrim is that you can go anywhere, you can climb any mountain, you can kill any person, but it completely restricts you.
for
Dude,
the
the
first 10
wagon.
minutes. Yeah.
There's an
Yeah.
actual mod that someone made called, I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Shrine of Azura mod, and basically it creates 7 different intros to the game. And so you wake
That's-
up and you're in a crypt, and so you talk to the shrine, and the shrine's like, how would you like to start your destiny? And there's a huge list of things, and then one of them was, I got caught trying to cross the border, and then brackets it says, the vanilla start. So you can just start the game any way you want.
See, if and that's the thing is like I don't mind the opening to Skyrim because Skyrim is just like even if you remember Oblivion, you're trapped in a jail cell for the first.
And same with Morrowind.
And, same with Morrowind.
And same
That's
with Daggerfall. And same with Arena.
Yep, you gotta remember that's been a staple for all the games. Skyrim is the most egregious offender out of all those because it's such a long walk up. It's so slow. It should be as you're like coming in, like it should have been like instead of you coming down the hill and
it should have been you just getting off the cart.
It should have been just you getting through the gate and you wait and like you being jostled awake by like a guard or something like, hey, wake up. That's how it should have been.
Not even ESO had a slow opening, and that's an MMO. It had a faster opening than Skyrim.
A lot of things have faster openings than Skyrim's. But then again, the game that doesn't have a faster opening than Skyrim because it was dead on arrival was Fallout 76.
Gee.
And that segues wonderfully, ladies and gentlemen, to my topic of the show, which I would like to call the complete downfall of the gaming industry.
Hey, this has been a topic for the past 2 months.
This actually has
year, something like that.
I think we were talking about the downfall of the gaming industry the last time you were on, and then it just got progressively worse from there.
Yeah, there's so many things that's happened.
We're like, it can't get any worse from this.
There's so many things that have happened in the last month and a half that you shake your head and you're like, we need a crash.
Bad.
And it got worse yesterday. At the Game Awards, and so I can't recall the exact timeline of events, but I believe the first thing was, I'm sure you guys talked about this on the podcast, but the announcement of Diablo Immortal, which was just a mess. After that,
massive.
So that was Activision and Blizzard, but the parent company is Activision, making a massive misstep, right? Shortly after that, Battlefield 5 launched, and I don't know if you guys talked about Battlefield 5 on the podcast.
I haven't played it, so I can't.
Okay,
I don't plan on playing it.
I don't plan on playing it either, but I watched this YouTuber. There's a fantastic YouTuber called Clean Price Gaming, and he wrote multiple essays on Battlefield 5. So what he said when the game first released, first before the game released, a month before the game released, they announced that Battle Royale, the flagship, the biggest selling point of the game, would not be included until, I believe, spring of 2019.
Oh, god damn it.
March, I think, is when they announced Battle Royale. So that's already a killing shot for Battlefield. But when the game actually launched, you will notice, because the game won't hesitate to tell you, it's not finished. They wanted to release the game in time for Black Friday, and I worked in an electronics store that sells Battlefield 5, and I was there on Black Friday, and it was on sale about a week after it was launched, and it's now about 50% off.
It got marked down to on sale down to 50% on not yesterday, but the day before, I think it was.
Yeah, and so there's 4 parts to Battlefield 5: single player, multiplayer, co-op, and Royale. Royale, as we've said, is completely unable to access. It's not finished. So that's one of the 4 game modes gone. Single player is told in vignettes, and so instead of following one character story, you have a 2-hour snippet of each 4 different characters, and the 4th character has not been finished yet. And it should have released 3 days ago, and I believe it did. So this, when the game launched, the single player wasn't finished. So that's 2 modes that weren't finished. Co-op
Yep.
was also completely unavailable. That's 3 modes that weren't finished, and I think half of the actual like game modes and multiplayer were to be
We're
announced.
still locked.
So that's all 4 aspects of this AAA title not available at launch.
Right.
Yep.
And this was all because EA wanted to push Battlefield. First, I believe they pushed it for an earlier release, I think, because they didn't want to. Oh no, they wanted it for October, and then they couldn't. Well, they decided not to because they would be competing with Red Dead and Fallout.
Both of which are kind of okay games.
Yeah, both of which fucking dwarfed Battlefield. And then, so that's EA making a massive misstep. Then Fallout 76 was released, and everyone knows. I don't know if you guys talked about the full extent of Fallout's problems, but from what I can gather, the problems are included, but not limited to, the game completely deleting itself after you finish installing it, forcing you to reinstall the entire 42 gigabyte game again.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah, when the game on PC, there was like when you load up the Fallout client, if you clicked play, it just deleted the game, and you'd have to reinstall it.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard of that, which sucks.
So there was that, and then people found out that pretty much every piece of information was held in a .ini file in your My Games folder, meaning that you could just set your health to 1 billion and have infinite health in a multiplayer game. Then people found out that the game speed was based on the frame rate of the game, and if you unlock the frame rate, which you can do very easily, you can run at supersonic speeds and no one can touch you. And so players who were playing in a 60 FPS locked server could see some dude flying by them at 450 frames per second. So yeah, Fallout 76 was based off of the creation engine of Bethesda's, which has been around since Morrowind. And they're not changing it anytime soon. Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 are also both going to be using the creation engine. And I don't know if this was mentioned, but it's worth mentioning again, even if it has, that Fallout 76 is just Fallout 4, but using the netcode of Quake 3.
And with no NPCs.
No, with no NPCs. And it's an absolute joke right now. And so that's Bethesda making a massive misstep as well. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, because last night there was something very strange happened that gave me a bit of a cause for concern. The Outer Worlds was announced, and a trailer popped up, and there's also a gameplay trailer, or like a gameplay demo on Game Informer's YouTube page, and it looks really good. For those of you who don't know, The Outer Worlds is the next game by Obsidian Studios, who are the original creators of Fallout, and as well as the creators of Knights of the Republic and Fallout New Vegas, some of the most renowned RPGs of all time. Now, this is the game that lots of people are stoked for. Lots of people are stoked for this game. No, it might sound strange, but this is why I think this is cause for concern. Obsidian, so it's developed by Obsidian, and it's being published by a company, I'm going to look it up one more time. I believe it's called Private Network. The Outer Worlds. And so this is basically not a AAA game. No, Private Division is the name of the publisher. Private Division has published exactly 4 games, including The Outer Worlds. The Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey, which is to be released in 2019. And the only other 2 games they published was Kerbal Space Program.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so...
fuck.
But Kerbal is a good game, and as much as I don't put a lot of faith into trailers, I have a lot of faith in Obsidian, because they have an incredible track record. What makes this cause for concern is that some basically no-name publisher that's published 2 games in 2018 can put out one of the most hyped and anticipated games of the next year. And the biggest 3 publishers, Activision, Electronic Arts, and Bethesda, fuck everything up.
Yep.
So this is why I personally believe there's going to be some sort of crash in the near future.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be all that surprised, actually. I actually know something else about the Bethesda thing. It's the PR thing. With what happened to
Oh yeah,
the rucksacks,
the bags, the
burlap,
canvas
burlap
bags.
the canvas bags, right? I actually found out that they are actually canvas. I thought they were burlap, but they're not. They're actually canvas, which is actually pretty cool.
They're actually
so
nylon.
They were actually nylon. Actually, no. Bethesda has turned around and said, "No, we'll send you the bags." Now they're capitulating.
Yeah, they came to the realization that, oh wait, making canvas bags are not as expensive as we said they were 2 days ago.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, guys. It'll be here. Don't worry, guys. It'll be out in a week.
And what's funny
don't kill us.
is that the day after I heard about the news, I was on the bus to work, and I saw a girl wearing a canvas bag that was shaped and designed exactly like that influencer bag that the devs or the press got, and it looks really cool. But players won't be getting that anytime soon.
It won't be for at least a couple months. Yeah, no, the 4 companies, there's actually 4 companies I think that are at fault right now, and one of them is actually, I lob Blizzard in with this bunch, because EA, Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard, and there was one other company. What was the other company that we were talking about, Jeff, the other week?
We were talking about how I believe we were talking about. I forget what it was, but we were talking about.
Starts with a B. It starts with a B.
It's a dev company.
I think it's a dev company. It's either a dev company or a publisher. I can't. It's one of the two, and it starts with B. And it's one of the big. It's one of the big AAAs.
We were talking about BioWare.
Right.
And
mind you, if BioWare it gets itself fucking sorted out, it'll be fine. BioWare is more in the situation that it just needs to sit down and not suck dick for a week.
BioWare's gonna die soon. If Anthem doesn't sell millions, BioWare's gonna close its doors.
Yep.
Yeah, don't.
Which sucks because the next Dragon Age just got announced.
Yep.
I mean, here's the thing: is that would you really be upset if? Would you really be that disappointed if the shadow of a company that was great died?
No. I personally wouldn't, because I don't care about BioWare. I don't care about Mass Effect, and I don't care about Anthem. I kind of like Dragon Age. I liked Origins, and I liked Inquisition. But, I'm not foaming at the mouth for a new Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
So that's just me. But there's a lot of people that are, and there's a lot of people that are, really hoping that Anthem does well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
I think that if anything, it's going to take time in order for Anthem to pick up steam, and I think that EA is not going to be. I don't think EA is going to have the patience that they did with Respawn.
Nope. Well, no, they won't. EA. Okay, here's the thing with EA. EA has the very big problem of buying up studios and then walking them out back and then putting a gun to their head and shooting them.
Oh yeah.
And I hate to break. Here's the thing. It happened with 3 studios that I used to like. It happened
one of
with
them Maxis.
Yes, one of them was Maxis. One of them was Westwood, because that got bought out and got changed into a
mobile company, basically.
Yeah, well, that too, and then the other company that EA kind of had a hand in the fall of, because EA helped publish some of their games, even though it was mainly a subsidiary to Microsoft, and it was losing money anyways. But the company that made Halo Wars, the original company.
Creative Assembly.
Nope. Ensemble Studios. There we go.
Yeah.
They they got put under because like EA used to be the biggest pusher for strategy games.
Oh yeah.
Because you look back at their past, you look back at all like, sure, they still had shooters back in like the early 2000s, but mostly what they put out was like grand strategy games and stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, yes, come on, look at this shit, look at how hard we are, look at these cool games we put out, and you could just like you throw a fucking dart at the wall, and all you'd see is like, hey, look,
Hey, look, fuck you.
this is a great strategy game. This is a great strategy game. Oh, this is an okay strategy game. This is a great strategy game with EA. And then I think it was around 2005 when Battlefield Bad Company came out. So they kind of just shifted away from that entirely.
Oh yeah. Well,
And,
like
EA's always been has been slowly going downhill ever since. And I don't
can you really blame them? I mean, EA's EA. I mean, they're kind of the worst company in the world. I'm not even being sarcastic when I sit there and say that. I'm being serious.
Yeah,
No,
looking at all the companies that EA currently owns, a lot of them are just like EA Romania, EA Russia, but like there's really 3 that they own that make like AAA level titles, and that's BioWare, DICE, and Respawn. And then if you look below that, there is all the defunct companies that they've owned. That includes Maxis and Westwood, as we talked about. Bullfrog Productions, which made Syndicate.
Yep.
Victory Games, Mythic Entertainment, BioWare Montreal, which got merged into Motive, and Visceral.
Yep. And Visceral's dead.
And now they're partnered. There's some that they're partnered with, but they're not. They don't officially own. Like Epic, they're partnered with Epic, Crytek, Insomniac, Starbreeze, Cly. What was the other one I was just looking at? Trapdoor. Oh, and Grasshopper was the other one I was looking at. And so they have the power. Like they have a lot of push for these games. And so like, and I'm not going to say if EA closes its doors. When EA closes its doors, it's taking a lot of the industry down with it.
Oh yeah.
But the great thing, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that when EA closes its doors, they can sell off all their IPs and their licenses. That includes the Star Wars license, that includes Titanfall, and things that not a lot of people think of anymore, like Mule, Archon, Wing Commander, Dungeon Keeper, Ultima, Command and Conquer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. EA has Wing Commander. Fuck. Oh.
SSX, the James Bond series. Oh, they don't have the James Bond series anymore, but
they did, but they don't
did
anymore. Yeah.
I keep forgetting that EA has the fucking Wing Commander series, and that's a game series that I have to go pick up and play because I fucking loved it as a kid. Oh man, I don't want that going back. I don't want that going back to the original creator because the original creator's a fucking scam artist.
You don't want that going back to. You don't want that being made powered into Star Citizen at all, Allan?
No, okay.
Oh wow, is that who made Wing Commander?
Yes, he's the original concept artist and creator and director of Wing Commander. And it's the reason why I straight up refused. I would rather Wing Commander go to like Microsoft or
it could go
Relic
to
Entertainment,
it could go
go to Sony.
It could go
to anyone else. It just
don't
go back to him.
It could go back to Richard Garriott.
That's who I'm talking about.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was like,
because he's the one who's making.
Oh, is he making Star Citizen? It all makes sense now. When I think
I'm gonna double check.
When I think of Richard Garriott, I think of 3 things. I think of how he runs around with a crown on and demands to be called Lord British. I think of when he put a disc, like a vinyl record of his memory, into space to preserve.
Chris Roberts is the guy who's developing Star Citizen.
Thank God, not Richard Garriott.
I'm actually looking up Richard Garriott because I want to make sure.
Richard Garriott, my favorite story about Richard Garriott is how when he was the director for Ultima Online, he went down, he made a character in Ultima, and held a a meeting in town square, like a speech, and anyone from the game could come and see Richard Gere in game. And he literally just said, "Ladies and gentlemen," and somebody threw a Molotov at him and killed him. And then 1,000 people ransacked his castle and stole all of his shit.
Sounds like about right. Yep.
Yeah. How do you spell his name?
I'll
Richard
post
Gere.
it. I'll just post his Wikipedia in the chat.
Okay. But I do know for a fact like I actually still really, really, really don't want anything dumb. Like as much as like EA is going to close, but I don't want the rights to Wing Commander to go back to fucking Dick
No,
Waffle
well,
McWaffle.
it won't go back to them like inherently. Like there'll be auctions for them, right? People will
Yeah.
bid on them. So
And
like
that's
a scary thing.
It's the scary thing because Wing Commander is such a forgotten topic now that it actually just might straight up revert back to them because it's so old. They haven't done anything with it in 20 years now.
Like all the sports licenses can go off to probably 2K. We'll pick those
2K.
up. But like when you look at them, like something like the Need for Speed series could go to anyone. It could go to Polyphony, and they could make an arcade racing game on top of Gran Turismo. You could take like, what was I just looking at? American McGee's Alice could go to someone like Platinum. Wing Commander could go to Paradox. Like you could do incredible things with these licenses.
Like, that's the thing. If Wing Commander went to Paradox, I would actually prefer if Wing Commander went to Microsoft or the company that's making Ace Combat. Because it's if you don't know, Wing Commander is if you've played X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, it's basically the same thing.
It's a flying game. I
It's a flying
thought
sim,
it was
so that's
more
the
of a
reason why-
strategy game.
I would love Paradox to do a strategy game version of it. It would be cool.
Real
It'd be
quick,
really cool.
quick aside before I guess it'll be too late. But for you guys, Company of Heroes 2 is free on Steam right now.
I already own it.
I think I own it.
I own a lot of things from Company of
I'm
Heroes.
pretty sure I own it. Let me look. Right now, I'm just busy being depressed about Counter-Strike being free and...
There's a Counter-Strike Battle Royale mode.
Yeah. I haven't played it because I don't have time. What's time? Time's a meme. Time is a fucking meme.
Time is a meme.
Yeah.
I'm actually a game that I'm looking forward to, which has been crowdfunded, is Iron Harvest. It's basically from the same guys who made Company of Heroes and Company of Hero 2. And what they're doing is like, yeah, we're gonna do like a diesel punk universe, and it's gonna have mechs, and it's gonna be cool. And I've just seen gameplay videos of it, and I'm just like, fuck, I want this game.
See, I'm pretty sure that like me and Allan are both like excited for this game because it had the magical word mechs in it, and that's enough in order for my ears to pop up. But like, I'm also like a fucking weeb, so yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, no, that's the thing is it's not like traditional mechs. It's like diesel punk mechs.
What the fuck is Bezopunk?
Take a look and you'll see it. Like that's all I can say is just go to the site and you'll see what diesel punk is.
Oh, Dieselpunk. I heard Bezopunk with a B.
Fuck, Beelzepunk. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like the
Dude,
devil's. It's like devil-powered shit, like Beelzepunk.
I don't know when it's supposed to release though. I actually want to see if it's on Steam because if it's on Steam, I want to see if I can pre-order it.
I mean, if we're talking about games that are being crowdfunded that I can't wait to come out, can we have a quick conversation about Pantheons? Have you guys heard this? Heard about this game?
I'm gonna look this up now because I'm actually a little bit curious.
What is it? If I could find the actual fucking game. Pantheons. It is called
Rise of the Fallen.
Rise of the Fallen. So basically, it is the promise. I think there was a Kickstarter and it failed, and so they're like kickstarting it like manually, or they're like crowdfunding it manually so they're like to get into it, like to pledge, you can pledge just like absurd amounts of money, like $1,000 plus.
Pledges, supporter pledge, full game plus beta testing is the base one, which is $50 to $100. Champion pledge is $250 to $500, which is full game plus alpha testing, which means you probably also get beta testing as well. Form access, which is free to $15 a month. Upgrade, already on a pledge, upgrade that, and VIP, $1,000 plus free full game plus pre-alpha testing, exclusive VIP form access, up to 24 VIP awards and stuff like that. And again, this is actually like a smart way to do this because
Yeah.
here's the pledges and stuff like that.
But so basically, what Pantheon is, it is an old school style MMO, which is trying to create the feel of like Burning Crusade WoW, I think. And so I'm still not 100% sure if it's like a theme park MMO or a sandbox MMO, but it has a strong emphasis on like the social aspect, the looking for group aspect.
So like what WoW used to be before.
What WoW used to be, yeah, for about 5 years, until basically think of WoW, but before Dungeon Finder existed.
I don't blame Dungeon Fire being a thing, because considering what they were like people were having such stupid long queues looking for people to find.
So to be fair, because WoW is a theme park MMO, so for about I would say about 2 weeks, I tried to get into Final Fantasy 11. Which is a very different MMO. If you don't know, there's no global cooldown. Nothing is instanced, so you could go into a dungeon and fight a boss, and there's a group already fighting the boss.
Yep.
And it's a very slow game and a very old game, but there was a lot of that 11 did right, and it did really well, and it really emphasized the social aspect of an MMO. And WoW, being a theme park MMO, as well as like Final Fantasy 14, they did that well. But nowadays, you have, for example, for Final Fantasy 14, you have like the Party Finder, which just boils everything down. You don't really have to talk to people. You can just go in, fight like the highest end boss, the one that takes the most level of communication, without talking to anyone once, and then just leave. Yeah. So Pantheon, I think, is aiming to fix that with a very old school style lore and character races and character classes, and it looks looks great.
I looked at the classes just now, actually, where it was paladin and clerics are human and dwarves. I'm like, that seems awfully restrictive. But at the same time, I think I can understand why, because this is supposed to be a social MMO where you're you have to look for your own group, you have to form a party, you have to communicate.
Yeah, that's the shitty thing about Pantheon is that they race lock certain classes, so a human can't play a druid, things like that.
In WoW, actually, believe it or not, there are some races that are race locked out of classes. You'll still get you'll still get your wide breadth, but you'll be oh yeah, humans can't be shamans
druids.
Or can't be druids, can't be this.
Yeah, I remember the dark ages of Wrath of the Lich King, where if you wanted to play a druid and you were on the Horde, you're playing Tauren.
If you were on the Horde and you wanted to play druid, go have fun with the high elves. They've kind of introduced they've kind of fixed that, but again, certain races, a good example, I was oh man, I totally play this game if I can play a Worgen paladin, and then I stopped and I looked at the list, it's they don't even have cleric. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's one of the upsides, as well as the downsides. I guess it's mostly an upside with 11, is that no class is race locked, but racial passives do play an actual very important role in the game. And so our friend Jolo tried to play a Taru warrior, and Tarus in 11, for those of you who don't know, are about a foot tall, and they have no vitality. And so the Taru warrior had exactly.
And remember, just before we remember, warriors have to be the tanks for the group.
Warriors are the tanks. by default. They have all the defensive cooldowns. So the Taru warrior had 4 more hit points than me, and I'm playing a human white mage. And then our other friend, who's also playing a warrior, but who is a Galka, which is like an ogre, has twice as much health as he does.
God damn, that's a.
So, like, I understand, looking at that, I can understand why they race lock, or they do it for lore reasons, like in WoW, say, like, back then, humans couldn't be shamans, and orcs couldn't be paladins.
They still can't be.
Okay, yeah, because the lore of the game, because when the game first came out...
Taurens were the only horde
right.
Taurens were eventually updated to be one of 2 factions that could have paladins, again, being the same with the Blood Elves. The Taurens got updated in Burning Crusade to have paladin as well, because they're like, well, the horde has no paladins, so we're going to give them 2 races. And what they did in response is I think they gave when they gave the alliance access to 1 more horde race, I think, and I don't remember which race it was, but I know it's fairly balanced out, because like you got exclusive classes to like high elves and night elves being, the demon hunters.
Yeah. That's why I liked, I was just talking about this with a buddy of mine, but a lot of people didn't like Mists of Pandaria. I really liked Mists of Pandaria, because I liked the pandas, and I liked playing Monk, and Monk was a really well-designed class. Like, I went back, I bought a month of sub when Warlords of Draenor came out, because all my friends were playing WoW, and so I went back on for like a month, and so I played a monk, like a healer monk, and I played a Pandarian, and it was really awesome, because right now I'm playing 14, and there's really no like meme race. Like, there's no like goofy looking race. They all are just like humanoid. So also for those
actually, what makes it even funnier is with the most recent WoW expansion, they introduced a bunch of new races. Again, they offered alternate versions of like orcs, Tauren, night elves, blood elves, dwarves, and what's the other race? And they've also got new, like, they're about to introduce two new alternates for the trolls and the humans, being Kultaran humans and Zendalari trolls. And then while you're playing the Zendalar campaign, you're walking around in one of the desert area, and you're like, there's these little fox people running around, and a lot of people are like, that's odd. Who are these people? And then there's snake people, and everybody's like, that's odd. Those are humanoid snakes. And then the Nagura thing again, and it's like, Blizzard, what are you doing here? Like, you don't like push races back into the game unless you're gonna do something with them really importantly. So what's going on? And so apparently what they found out is the fox people and the snake people, they have dance emotes, and their bodies are set up so that you could like swap in a bunch of gear and stuff. And apparently people have found both of them with both Alliance and Horde options for their gear. And everybody's like, Blizzard, are you giving us like more races? What? And like, we're all like really excited, because it's at the same time we're like, this is actually pretty cool. Thanks Blizzard. But at the same time, considering like I don't know, because I don't play Warcraft, because as much as I'd like to, the only person I'd have to be able to play with would be a friend is one of my other friends, but he doesn't play very often because he lives in an area with very poor connectivity.
The one thing I would like to also talk about now that I'm on the podcast, and I'm sure none of you have talked about this because no one cares except for me and perhaps the audience, is that
Depends. What is it?
It is talking about Final Fantasy XIV.
All right, you are correct. We have not talked about Final Fantasy XIV because none of us played it.
And so, since I've been gone, there's been a new raid tier in Final Fantasy. So I think I'm sure I've mentioned this before years ago when the raid first came out. Or no, I probably haven't, because Stormblood didn't even exist when I was on the show. But in the second expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, there was a raid, and there's one raid in all of Final Fantasy for like one expansion. And the raid in Stormblood, the second expansion, was called the Omega Weapon. And so the Omega Weapon had this really well set up raid tier, in my opinion, where the Omega Weapon was building monsters based off of stories. And so he would read a storybook, and there'd be a monster in it. He'd create the monster, and he'd test it against you. And you would kill it because you're the main character. And so he'd like, okay, I'll make another character. But the monsters, the stories he was reading were the old Final Fantasy games. And so the first tier of raids was based off of Final Fantasy V. The second tier of raids was based off of Final Fantasy VI. And so people were speculating what's the last raid tier going to be based off. And people were saying, well, first one's 5, second one's 6, third one's probably going to be 7. Well, the third raid tier has come and gone. And I'm pleased to announce that Sephiroth does not make an appearance in Final Fantasy XIV.
Nope, he's in more Kingdom Hearts games than he is in any Final Fantasy game.
That's really sucks, honestly. But so the raid tier came out, and basically what happened was that Chaos was the first boss fight. Who was the final boss of the first Final Fantasy game, and he's a pushover. And so when you kill him, the Omega Weapon just basically says, okay, I'm going to pull something out of my ass. And so you fight a giant dragon that Omega fought previously in history called Midgardsormr, which is like a proprietary Final Fantasy boss. And after you defeat Midgardsormr, Omega just says, all right, fuck you. Get out. The experiment's over. Please leave. And then you don't, and then he comes down there himself and kicks your ass. And so you have to fight the Omega Weapon, is the third boss. And when the Omega Weapon fights you, now he gets direct data from you. The fourth boss is the Omega Weapon again, but he takes on a human form, the perfect human. And basically it's Adam and Eve from Nier Automata.
Oh god damn, that's amazing.
And then after, in the savage, like high-end level of the fight, he transforms into like perfect Omega, and he's just like this super like construct of God. And so like everyone was pretty stoked for that, and watching the raid, it was pretty exciting. I haven't done it myself because I don't have a group to do it with, so I kind of skipped this raid tier and just waited for the next expansion, which I'm still waiting for. But it was announced recently. It was announced about a month ago, November 16th. I will send you. I'm gonna post the video. This is the teaser trailer of the new expansion, because we were talking about MMOs, and I felt like I should bring this up. But they have said time and again that Final Fantasy XIV will go for about 4 or 5 expansions, depending on how the community feels. So this is the third expansion, and they specifically said that they were adding 2 new races to the game, and that these would be the last races added to the game, which sucks, but I understand why, again, because it's a fucking nightmare to design every single piece of clothing for every single race. Takes a lot of work to make a race, which is why they only do it once every 2 expansions. But the race that they're adding, the first race that was announced that they're adding is the Viera, which are the rabbit people from Final Fantasy XII.
Hey!
Which is pretty cool. But again, I'm not gonna. I don't want to play a rabbit personally.
Fuck off! They're the best characters, you know it.
They're okay. They do look pretty cool, but like me personally, I like many Final Fantasy players, 14 players. They play for the fashion. The real end game is fashion, as almost everyone agrees. You don't do the raid because you want the high-end armor.
So it's like it's like Fashion Souls in Dark Souls, where you just like you get to a point in the game where you're just like, I'm just gonna dick around with the armor and see what looks cool.
And this is what is heartbreaking to me to inform you all, because one of the coolest looking jobs ever was just announced, a new character class, and it's the Blue Mage, and everyone's super
And let me
stoked.
guess,
Go ahead.
only for the bunnies.
No, it's actually worse. So
Oh,
no.
the Blue Mage was announced, and Blue Mage looks like Joker from Persona. He wears like a coat, and his weapon is a cane. He wears a mask and a blue hat, and he goes out. You go out into like the field, and you fight
Yep.
monsters. And if a monster uses its signature attack, say you're fighting a Morbol and he uses Bad Breath, if you kill that Morbol, there's a chance you learn Bad Breath. And so you learn your abilities the same way you would learn as any other Blue Mage would. Now the problem is that this creates a lot of problems in an MMO environment based off endgame rating. So a lot of people would not bring in a Blue Mage that doesn't have the most powerful attack, that whatever it is. If they find some broken combo, that's going to be the meta. To alleviate this, Blue Mage is terrible. Basically, it is what is considered a limited class. It will be released soon. It's going to be released before the expansion comes out. So Blue Mage is coming out. The level cap, for those of you who don't know, is 70 currently, and Shadowbringers will increase it to 80. But Blue Mage's level cap is 50. Blue Mage is not allowed to do any group content. Blue Mage is not allowed to use Dungeon Finder. It's not allowed to use Party Finder. You have to do things by yourself as a Blue Mage. And with every patch that gets released, Blue Mage's level will increase a little bit. And then eventually it'll increase to the max of 80. But it's a solo class made for solo play. Now, as you might think, I have the same question as you guys. Why the fuck would they add a solo class into an MMO based off of community play? Which is the same question a lot of people are having right now.
I agreed.
And this happens a lot in 14. Every now and then they'll add something that's made specifically for solo players. So when they included like the Duty Finder, the Dungeon Finder, they later on included what's called squadrons. And so what squadrons are, it's you are the commander. You're like a sergeant in a small battalion. And so you control like 12 soldiers in your company's army. And you can take soldiers from that battalion into the dungeons. In case you're not comfortable or you're just learning a class, you can practice with AI instead of with other people, which doesn't work because you have to now play StarCraft while doing a dungeon, because you have to control your AIs as you do the dungeon, and it's just a mess. I've tried it; it's a mess.
Could always be worse, though.
Hold up. I hear this. It's a mess. It's terrible. But I get the feeling that there's something that's being led up to this.
Possibly.
Okay, where are we going with this? Because I'm really, really curious now. Because
well, what this is leading to, I should say, is where the solo play. There's a lot of like end game stuff for different people. If you wanna be a raid, if you want to be a raider, you can raid. If you want to do PvP, you can do PvP. If you want to play The Sims, you can play The Sims. You can buy a house and decorate your house and have the coolest house in the world.
Yep.
But when this Squadrons was announced, it was announced in, I want to say, February of this year, because it was during the Final Fantasy VI raid, and it caused a massive problem with the raid. So, and this is where it's leading up to, where the solo play is getting in the fucking way of the multiplayer. And so the way Final Fantasy is set up is that when you go into say you go into a raid, you have 8 people in your party, and they each do different jobs. When they successfully do their job, when they hit the boss, when they dodge attacks, they gain a limit break. And everyone in your party gets the same limit break meter, and then once the limit break meter is completely filled up, one party member can take that and use it. Depending on your class, it deals different amounts of damage.
Oh no.
A melee DPS does a massive single target attack. Say a black mage, for example, will deal a massive AoE attack. A healer can massively resurrect every single dead party member instantly, and a tank can make a giant shield that makes everyone basically invincible.
Oh no. This sounds like some Destiny 2 crap.
When you're in it's not exactly like Swolfian, but it's pretty bad. So when you're in a squadron, you get access to a special limit break called Unger Max. And what Unger Max does, it takes one section of the limit break meter. There's 3 sections you can fill up. When you use Unger Max, you deal a single target attack, and everyone else in your party gets a 50% damage increase for like 10 minutes. And it's meant for squadrons. So it's like if you want to just fly through this dungeon fast, you can just use Unger Max and fucking annihilate the rest of the dungeon. Unger Max was not able to be used. When you're outside of a squadron, the Unger Max logo is grayed out and you can't click on it. However, if you were to type /AC space Unger Max into the text box, you would use Unger Max, no matter where you were. So people went into the final boss. They went in to fight God of Magic Kefka in his ultimate perfect form.
Fucking Kefka. God damn it.
Used Unger Max and raped him in the ass.
There was no lube involved.
There was no lube involved. It was a massacre, and the only reason Square Enix did anything about this was because somebody clipped a Twitch clip of some guy using Unger Max just to see if he could. And by the time like he had done it, it was already widely known throughout the community, throughout the raiding community, because people wanted to keep it on the down low in case it got taken away. And so eventually Square Enix patched the game. They took away Unger Max from people, and they banned everyone that used it.
Oh, great.
That
sounds excessive.
And you could clearly tell, this is actually my favorite part, you can clearly tell who used Unger Max because there's a wonderful website out there called fflogs.com where people can record.
Oh yeah, that's
where people can record their damage and post it online for everyone to see. So basically, everyone who used Unger Max posted their numbers to Flogged and said, "Look at what I did," and then got banned.
Yep.
Oh damn.
Oh my god, that's great. You know what? I don't even feel bad for them. I was like, oh man, that sucks. Considering like some people might have been banned.
Some people did it like completely by accident, and I'm sure like if they like that one dude who posted the Twitch clip, he could just show someone at Square and be like, should I get banned for this? And some people were like, they didn't get banned, but most people who were like speedrunners, they got banned.
Yep.
They got banned hard.
Yep. That's the thing. Is like, actually, it's a pretty funny thing about the speedrunning community is they are sticklers for like, no, you follow the rules. We have no problems with like you breaking the game if you're trying to speedrun it, but that's like.
Oh no! In Final Fantasy, like speed clearers are a thing, and basically they will do everything in their power to exploit every possible asset. When Unger Max is out, I use Unger Max. Like there's a not a glitch but an exploit for a long time, because basically the way like the limit break works, there's one way you can increase limit break meter is to mitigate damage. So say like you put up a shield over people and they get hit, the shield will absorb, and so you'll gain a little bit of limit break. The lower health that person is when they get hit and survive, the more limit break you get. And so what people found out you could do is you could take off all of your armor and then use a massive shield, like a super powerful shield, and you could deploy that shield before you pull the boss, and then you put on all of your gear as you pull the boss. So everyone starts with this massive shield at like 30% health. The first hit comes out, everyone gets hit, everyone blocks it with their shield, instantly limit break gets filled up. And so like, all right, we start the fight and we can hit the boss for 1 million damage.
Wow. How to make a game broken.
Exactly.
At the same time, I'm not even mad about that because, like, again, that's the point of like speedrunners is to find the exploits, to use them and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't agree with like using exploits in MMOs because, like, if it's like it's a one-shot thing that you just do, like from what it sounds like, I don't agree with that because like that just breaks the game mechanic. It just breaks the game to the point where it's like, yeah, it's done, done, done. And I don't. That's how I see it. Is like no, speedrunning is supposed to be like difficult. Like, and that's the reason why with WoW actually when they did the Lich King um, information for like the raid for like the final boss against for
Against Arthas.
against Arthas, there was a glitch in the game where if you used bombs at the start of the raid before like the platform started to fall away, it would glitch out the platforms and the platforms would remain, so you had actually a larger area to work with.
Right, I remember that.
And the first guys who did it, they got banned. They didn't get perma banned. They just got banned for like a 2-week thing, and they got their title taken away because they're like, no, you exploited the game. And that's the thing that I like is like I don't mind people doing speed runs and stuff like that, but do it within the constraints that would normally be like, hey, would this technically, like, if this got shown to the company, would they immediately patch this out or try to or immediately patch it out and stuff like that? That's what you should ask, and that's the rule I go with, and that's the reason why I'm like, I don't again with Final Fantasy, because like they try to keep it on the down low so nobody can find out. I'm like, that's a bit of a scummy thing to do because the company would fix it. So maybe what you guys should do is when you guys find these things on your first speed run and you find this exploit, you can like, yeah, no, we found this exploit. Is it okay to have because is it like game breaking? Like again, like as you said, the two where it's like, oh yeah, everybody puts their shield up, limit break, 1,000,000 damage. Is it like game breaking, or is it like or is it like a fair thing where again you still have to? It's still hard to pull.
It's
like a
pretty
difficult
hard to
thing
pull off, and it wouldn't like ruin the boss because it doesn't completely fill up your limit break, and it's a very like you can do it in any single boss fight in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you fuck it up a little bit, because the way you have to do it, first everyone has to take off all their clothes, except for the scholar. So you need to have a scholar in your party. The scholar has to use a shield called Adloquium, and the way it works is that when you heal someone for a little bit, and you also give them a shield for that much. If it crits, it doubles. So you can hit them. You have to get a critical Adlo, and then you have to use deployment tactics, and it spreads to everyone. And as it spreads to everyone puts their clothes back on and pulls the boss. The other one that came out around the same time was the first boss of the Final Fantasy VI bosses was the Phantom Train, and no matter what anyone says, I fought that boss 1,000,000 times. It took me like 2 months to kill it because it was such a pain in the ass, but I really enjoyed that fight. But there was a problem with the boss, and Square Enix addressed the problem and said, yeah, it's not a problem. But it was a massive problem. So halfway through the boss fight, the train leaves, and 8 ghosts will appear. And everyone gets a debuff on them called Throttled. And after 10 seconds, you die. And there's no avoiding it. The only way to like stop yourself from dying is you have to be grabbed by a ghost and be taken to a train car. And then you have to fight the ghost one-on-one. And once you kill the ghost, you can return and you don't have throttle anymore. The fight can resume. The way the game works is that when the last ghost dies, throttle is worn off, like throttle disappears, and the Phantom Train returns, the fight returns. So what people found out you could do, because at this time, the warrior class was completely redone, and they were given an ability that's disgusting, like broken. It basically, you press, it's like a cooldown, and for 10 seconds, you cannot miss. You cannot be knocked back. Every single attack critically hits. Every single attack direct hits. So it's like an armor penetration critical hit. And you can use your most powerful attack at will. And so Warrior has this attack called Fellcleave, which does like 550 potency damage, which is fucking stupidly high. And every single one will critically hit now. So an enemy with 100,000 health you can hit it 5 times and it dies, whereas before you would hit it for like 6 or 7,000 damage. So what people found out you could do, you could send a warrior into the train car with one ghost. He turns on this cooldown. He throws him in the dumpster, and as soon as the ghost dies, everyone else is just sitting on the platform waiting for the boss. And so as soon as that ghost dies, it's technically the last ghost. And so everyone's cleansed of throttle. The warrior comes out. The fight resumes. Only one person had to go in. Otherwise, all 8 people would have to go in. And so people, like, in Party Finder, they'd be like, this is a warrior cheese party. We were doing the warrior cheese strat because no one else wants to do the mechanic. And that became, like, the main thing. Like, a speedrunner would have to do this. And it was...
But it's still hard, though. It's still hard to do, though.
It's still slightly difficult, but, like... people later found out, like, as the game went on and people got better and better armor, you could do this with a lot of classes. It's not just warrior that has to do this. I've seen samurais do it. I've seen dark knights do it. I've seen red mages and black mages do it. I think I saw a summoner do it once. I saw a dragoon do it. Like, it's really easy to do. But yeah, again, there's, like, with a high risk is a high reward, and the risk is literally everyone will die instantly. The warrior could get creamed by the ghost in one hit. But yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. I don't mind that in my rating.
In your rating, yeah, and that's fair. It's like for how I've always looked at it is, as I said, is as long as it's not like game breaking. That's how I look at it, and I have no problem with people who do speedruns. Like, I actually love watching people who do, like, really cool speedruns where it's like, yeah, look at this shit. We got this done in fucking 10 minutes. And you're like, damn, bro, that's fucking awesome. And then there's other times where you're like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend about speedrunning just in general, because I watch quite a bit of speedrunning content on YouTube. Like, there's a lot of people I sub to, like White Goose and Apollo Legend, Glad Jonas, and those kind of guys. But I was watching not a really old, but a fairly old PewDiePie video where he was talking about the speedrunning community. And one thing I always just think of is that, like, watching streams of speedrunners is weird. Because you're watching a guy who is extremely passionate about a game that literally no one plays. So much so that he, like, loses his fucking mind.
Oh, man. No, I don't disagree, because, like, at the same time, like, fuck, just, I want to beat this. I want to beat this now. And, like, I've watched one person do a speed run of one game, and it was funny because he was playing through it, and he was like, I'm at the halfway point. I could do this in the fastest time possible at this point. I'm almost there. And he misstepped, and he misstepped and got killed, and he just put down the controller and got up, took his headphones off, and walked away from the computer. He was just like, I'm done streaming for the night, guys. I'm sorry, I'm off. I was like, wow, that's the response I didn't expect.
There's some times when you're like for example, I was watching this one, I don't know who it was, but there was a streamer. He was speedrunning, like, Digimon World 3 on the PlayStation 1.
Yes, I've heard this one.
Yeah, and then he gets all the way up to, like, the final boss is, like, Galacticmon or something, and dies.
Yep.
And he's just like, well, that's it, the run is dead. And you look, and it's like, you've been playing this game for 10 hours. And you get all the way, you make one mistake, you're done.
Yep. And that's the thing is, like, for me, that's the reason why I don't speedrun. It's the reason why I don't, like, do, like, rush through campaigns. I take my time. I enjoy them. It's actually the main reason why, like, I can't do anything over speedruns, because, like, for me, I get nervous really quick. I get nervous and, like, really, like, pent up. And I'm like, because, again, like, a good example is when I play Company of Heroes. A good example. when I was playing the final mission for Company of Heroes 2, when you're in Berlin and you're fighting to get to that final point, I was like fucking. I'm like, it's not a stressful situation. Like normally when you're playing the game, you're not stressed. You're like, okay, what do I get to this? But because you're always under constant pressure in that mission, because it's like they're not going to stop attacking you. You have to take the attack to them. Go, stop, just go. Don't even think about it. And you're like, I was like, I'm actually like having to think about what I have to constantly like go, go, go. Oh my god, I gotta keep up. Okay, I got through this point. Oh shit, that's a tiger. Crap. Okay, I need this. And you're constantly like snapping through like the decisions. I'm like, if this is what speedrunning's like, I don't want to ever do this because holy shit. And I also know for a fact that strategy games suck for speedrunners because and it's the reason why you don't ever actually see a speedrunner do a strategy game. Is because there are missions like the defense missions in Company Heroes 1 and 2 where it's like you have to hold out
you just have to wait
for an hour. And a good example is, I think it was the Kursk battle in Company of Heroes 2, where you're on the defensive for like a solid 45 minutes, and you're like, no, it's just a non-stop attack. It's just like you have to hold. I would hate to be a speedrunner and have to do fucking strategy
See,
games.
like for something like that though, where you're doing a holdout mission, there's no way to speed run through that. Like there's no way to go through that. So that would be really the least stressful thing you could be doing, because when in the back of your mind, everyone else is doing this at the same speed. So as long as you hit every other mission quickly, you don't have to you can't speed run through this one. So you might this is your break.
Yeah, but that's it's not, at the same time, it's because we also know for a fact that with these defense missions, after those 45 minutes, it's usually if it isn't just another part where the mission ends and you go into the next mission, because you've been on cooldown for 45 minutes, getting back into that groove can be really hard. And even top that, where there are like second parts of the 45 missions, where like again a good example was the closing of the Fallet Pocket in Company of Heroes 1, where you have a 35 minutes to close the Fallet Pocket before the German armor shows up and stuff like, or you have an X amount of time before the German armor shows up. And you have to close the pocket. And during that entire fight, leading up through that matchup, you're like, okay, what's coming after me? Because the moment you finish it, you're like, oh yeah, I just closed the Fallet Pocket. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a bunch of tigers and panthers coming your way. You're like, I haven't built anything for this response. So like the first time it could like straight up screw you, because when I first played Company Heroes 1 and we got to the Fallet Pocket, I was like, oh yeah, they're just sending German armor. Like it's gonna be like nothing. Like it's gonna be like old tire like half tracks, maybe like a Stug like they've been doing for the past hour. And then a tiger showed up on the map, and I'm like, I have nothing to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I failed the mission because they just immediately just broke right through it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, and that's the thing, because could you imagine speedrunning and just that happens and you're like, fuck. That knocks you out. That knocks you out of the race entirely, because you got to do another 45 minutes, 35 minutes.
That would end your run completely.
I do know for a fact that there's at least 3 missions of that in Company Heroes 2. There's the one where you encircle a German town, and you have to hold every exit and just mow down everyone that comes out. There's the Stalingrad one, and there's the opening mission. The opening mission's another short, like, yeah, you have to hold out for X amount of time before the mission's over. And you're like, yeah, that's the reason why I'm not surprised like strategy games are not speedrunning games, because again. But then again, at the same time, I'm not even too upset, because, well, I don't want to see people speedrun through strategy games. You want to see people come up with like cool, wicked strategies where it's just like last second, turn on a dime. Shit, I need this. You got to shift your entire strategy to win the match.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of like the craziest, and this is one of those things that's like as much as you can speedrun this, but don't. Just don't.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this guy, the Happy Hob, if you're familiar with him.
I think I do.
Sounds like you are. So he did a Dark Souls trilogy speedrun where he ran through every single Dark Souls game, one after another, in one sitting. The video is 10 hours and 8 minutes long. The rules for this challenge are as follows.
The no hit. Yeah, it's the no hit run where he has to go through the entire game, all 3 games without hit. And I do know for a fact he got to Dark Souls 3 and got hit once and just had to restart.
Yep. Yeah, you can't die. You can't get hit by any enemy or boss. You can't be hit by objects causing damage, like the arrows in Sen's Fortress. Magic is not allowed. Blocking hits with a shield is not allowed. Parrying.
Oh, that's a bullshit.
Parrying is allowed. Taking fall damage is allowed. Taking poison damage from the environment is allowed. After filling up the meter, getting frostbitten counts as a hit. Reducing your health bar because of the jailers in Ethereal Dungeon count as a hit. Getting staggered by an enemy or boss counts as a hit. To follow the story and gameplay, the scripted death at Seath and the archives is allowed.
Yeah, well, you can't do anything about that. It'd be cool if you could. I'd be like, damn. But you can't, and that's the reason why I'm like, well, what are you going to do? But at the same time, I'm like, I love... I heard about that. When I heard about that, I was like, how long did it take? And now that I know it's only been he only took 10 hours to do, I'm like, good job. Because it took me, I got to look up my stats for Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1 took me 37 hours to get through. Dark Souls 3, we played about another extra hour, so it took me 47 hours to get through that one. And then so far in Scholar of the First Sin of Dark Souls 2, because we're doing all the DLC before we do Final Boss.
Because you're crazy.
I want to get a very specific ending for Dark Souls 2.
You want the doggo back.
Everybody wants the doggo back.
You want the doggo back more than anyone else.
But at the same time, I'm not super like annoyed with how like they've done the games and stuff like that. And again, it's like, damn, good job, man. I heard that. I was like, fuck, I'm impressed, man. Like, if I ever met Happy Hob, I would just shake his hand. He'd be like, you're my hero.
Apparently, he's working on doing every Dark Souls game, all the DLC, and Bloodborne next in one sitting.
Oh, God, that's going to take him a long time.
Bloodborne is a game that I love, but like I would be interested in watching it as a speedrun because apparently it gets crazy.
Dark Souls, I don't care for. And I've said this 100 times over, but like Bloodborne is a game that I am interested in. Bloodborne to me is like the Metal Gear Solid series. It's cool. I like it, but I don't play it.
Yeah. I think actually, in all honesty, that you'd actually really enjoy Dark Souls. But at the same time, it's not a big priority for a lot of people how I look at a situation like that. Of like people being like, hey, like, don't worry about it. Like, it's a game that like even I'm like, yeah, like when I first started playing it, I was like, I don't like this game. And then, like the only reason why I enjoy the series now is because I got all the way through 1, and then we started playing Dark Souls 3, and I immediately fell in love with 3 because I was like, I like the mechanics, I like the gameplay style, I like the story where it's this is the final, like, hopefully the final like story for this game, and I like how all the DLC tied together. I do agree that like it doesn't have the strongest story out of the 3, which that goes to 1. But 1 has, like, in my opinion, some of the worst mechanics because, for you to jump when you're running, you have to click down your fucking trigger. You have to click down your fucking what's it called? The directional spin thingamabobber. Trying to remember what it is. Your circle pad thing, whatever.
I like
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to click that thing down to jump, and Dark Souls 2, unfortunately, has the problem of like there's some areas that are really coolly designed, but none of the bosses are memorable. The areas are forgettable, and it's just like the hitboxes are fucking dumb. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, there's a character I should be able to beat in fucking 5 seconds because I know how to beat him, and I can't because the hitboxes are so fucking big that I'll be like, oh yeah, I take a swing with my sword, and his sword, like his hammer will hit me. It won't even hit me. It'll be off to the side, like a full foot away from my character. But because it hits my hitbox, I take like half damage. I take a full thing of damage. I'm like, what? I interrupted the attack. How am I taking damage? And yeah, there's a lot of things that are wrong with the game, and it's just like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, I think this is a podcast though. Jeff has been quietly.
I think it's a podcast, and I'm tired, and I want to go to bed because I'm tired.
Jeff has been working on like his school projects in the background.
What is love? What is life? Time is a meme.
Time is a meme though. Time is a meme though.
Time is a meme.
All right.
You can listen to us every Thursday on Black Monday.
Wow, you are really tired. Fuck.
You can also listen to us on YouTube and your podcast app of choice. Did I mention that you can listen to us every Thursday on podbean.com? I'm very tired. Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.